Good morning. And as we're listening into the Apostle Paul, he's moving into some territory now that is going to clash with our modern day culture. It clashed with that ancient culture, especially in Corinth, where the Corinthian culture was very similar to the American culture and several other modern cultures. They they had a disregard for the God of heaven. They did not comprehend the boundaries and the design of marriage or the role of men and women in in the home or in the church. And so he's clarifying here in these next few verses some pretty unpopular truth. So let's just jump into it. He says, "Now I praise you because you remember me in everything and hold firmly to the traditions, just as I delivered them to you. But I want you to understand that Christ is the head of every man, and the man is the head of a woman, and God is the head of Christ." See, I told you it wasn't going to be real popular. There's an order that God put in place from the very beginning. When he created man and breathed into him the breath of life, and Adam became a living soul, and God said, "It's not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper to complete him. I'll make a helper suitable for him." And that was the term, a helper. The value of men and women through the ages has been determined by the strength and physical ability in a lot of cultures. And so the women have been degraded, and they've been put down, and they've been treated in many cultures and by many religions as property. But then Christ comes and he refreshes the order of God's creation. He says, look, the value of a man is exactly the same as the value of a woman. We have the same value. But here the order is clear. There's God, there's Christ, there's the man and the woman. And it's that order that people don't like. And because of that order, we often forget that the value is the same. Jesus died for the soul of a woman in the same way that he died for the soul of a man. So our value is equal, and that makes a huge difference in the relationship that a husband and a wife ought to have. The husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. But she has the same value. Peter says, look, guys, I'm telling you that your prayers don't get past the ceiling because some of you mistreat your wife. She's God's daughter. Don't mistreat his daughter. He values her the same as he values you. She will inherit the same thing. The Christian man and the Christian woman have exactly the same inheritance, which makes it very clear that God values her the same as he values him. But the order is different, and that's what we need to maintain. God has created men in a certain way, and men ought to be men, and we ought to be manly men. And he's created women in a different way, and women ought to be women in a feminine way, delighting in God's gift to make us who we are. And when we rejoice, when we accept and revel in God's design, then our life gets better. Our mental health comes into line with God's blessings. Our physical health is better. Our relationship with the people around us is better because we know our identity is what God has given us. There's a song now that says, "I am who you say I am." And I would add to that, "I will be where you place me." James says, "Humble yourself under the mighty hand of God." Men, you can serve your wife even as Christ served the church. Women, you can respect your husband, even as the church honors Christ. Read through the book of Ephesians. This is God's pattern for relationships between men and women, that there's God, there's Christ, there's the man and the woman. It's not my idea. I'm the messenger, but it's true. And when we live according to God's pattern, then we put ourselves in a position where his blessings flow upon us. May God bless you today. He loves you, and we love you too.